All right, the next section here on our program, we're going to be having another section. That section we have with Dr. Ugochukwu Ngona was amazing. I was impacted. In fact, let me keep it into my pocket. So we're going to have another session with the former Director General, NIMASA, and Executive Chairman. I'm talking about Barrister Temisan Omatseye. He's going to be talking about envisioning the untapped careers in the marine and blue economy for educators. Keep clapping your hand until I hand it over the mic. Thank you. God bless you. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing very well today. I do observe all protocol. My darling Mrs. Odusoya, nice to see you again. Retirement is treating you well. You see, people that work in government, they don't realize that sometimes with our dear governor in Lagos State, the GMLTT, it's nice to see you. I've known you guys for a while, LCM and the PASA and all of you people. Although you guys have taken over our waters in Lekki here, but we're not complaining. You are doing a good job. You are dredging the channel quite nicely. I remember many years ago, I used to meet a guy. Is this Stephen Cole or so? Mr. Cole. I think he was in Abuja. He was in charge overseeing. So I used to discuss with you guys. As a matter of fact, it was your concept of LCM I wanted to use for the NIMASA then for the operations of our boats, which is still opening as well. So for our security boat. But that's not what I'm here to say. First of all, Lighton has a way of catching somebody. And because it took me a while to get here because I missed my turning with Google Map. I didn't know I was supposed to drop at Total. And I went to Mobile and it brought me back and it was taking me back to Lekki again. But I said, I think there's a way through Adova. So I got to Adova, they let me through. And I came through only for my present DG and IMO Secretary General to be entering this thing, and they kept me blocked there for 30 minutes because they were doing pam 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 pam. I don't know what they were doing. Maybe I don't know what they do in the Navy, whatever. So they kept us and they refused to allow us move. I didn't even know it was one of my former NIMASA driver that came to greet me and say, "Oga, sorry, sir, it's IMO Secretary General that is entering." I said, "Okay, I stand down." Now we talk about the maritime sector. And really and truly, it's a sector which is really untapped. And this is based on the lack of understanding and knowledge of our young ones. If you realize right now, a country like Philippines and the India are basically training a lot of seafarers that are taking care of the world. So the revenue that is coming from the diaspora, and I stand to be corrected, is if not 5 billion or 25 billion, that is how much they are bringing back in, as in seafarers earning, but those from Philippines. So Philippines has basically taken over the maritime sector by providing manpower for the sea. Now, because we are teachers here, I need to understand a bit more thing. The laws of the sea is driven by UNCLOS, which is the United Nations Convention Law of the Sea. Then we have what we call the SOLAS Convention, which is the Safety of Life at Sea Convention. Then we have, which is where we have the ISPS code and all this other issue of safety of life at sea. Then we have what we call the International Seabed Association, which deals with everything that happens on the seabed and mining on the seabed and whatever the case may be. Then we have what we call then we have other conventions like the MAPO conventions, and we have other conventions. Now, the bottom line, quite simply, on all of these things is that these are the things that drive the maritime sector. And as the maritime sector is right now, shipping is the most regulated industry in the world, which therefore means that there is a need for us to educate our younger ones as much as possible on the impact of the water, on how to protect our environment and the water. Because the bottom line, quite simply, is that something happened today. First of all, when you woke up, you had a shower. You had to use your water. And many of us woke up and took a glass of water. Or, as we did here, we took our coffee, and the coffee or whatever had to be mixed with water. So, in majority of what we had to do, and I hear that 80% of our body is even water itself or something like that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So, the bottom line, quite simply, is that we cannot do without our water. But when people fail to realize that when they defecate in the water or pass whatever they want on the water, that is coming back to us again because we are going to intake that water. Do you know even in the city of London, they recycle their water 7 times, and they keep recycling and everything else. But what we're here to talk about is that how can you as educationists assist our young one? I believe strongly, and it's my opinion, and I'm happy that the PAMSEC of the teaching services is here, is that I remember when my son was in the UK, they had a special class they used to have, which used to call, oh God, I had it in my head, I'll remember it just now, critical thinking. Now, critical thinking, they didn't have every teacher that was teaching critical thinking. There was one teacher that taught critical thinking, but he had to go for that class for critical thinking. And I believe path to an employment than a person who comes out with a degree. That is what I am learning and I'm understanding better. Why am I saying so? If we're able to develop, because these kids come out with natural skills. I mean, Nigeria is so blessed with brilliant people that some of them come with technical skills that sometimes the university is not even inspiring them, it's even bringing them back. But if we begin to say, okay, this kid in the secondary school knows this quite well, and we focus his training on that line of thought and get him certificate, and sometimes these certifications are only 2 months, 3 months, and you get your certification. I tell you, most of the employees, they will ask you for your degree, then they'll ask you for what areas are you certified in. So that is my own thinking, especially when it relates to maritime. Because let me tell you what happens in maritime. A person can come out of secondary school, maybe at the age of 16, and he can wake up and says, well, I want to go to the maritime sector. If he boards a vessel today as a 16-year-old, we call him a rustabout. That is basically just get the little certification. There are some safety at sea paperwork you get, maybe about 5 or 6. $1,000 you can get that. The moment he gets on board a ship, he starts earning $500 a month as a rustabout. We call it a rustabout. That is, they call them a deckhand. You know what they call it? It's a deckhand. These are the people that are just on board. They're the ones that do the painting and whatever. Now, in most cases, this guy will be on the sea for 6 months. So basically, he can be there and be getting his $500. And remember, because he's at sea, he doesn't have any real expense. Maybe he can be taking $100 and be giving to his mother or his parents. That is $116,000. So he can be paying salaries to his parents, $150,000 a month, even if he likes. He can give them $200, which is, and then, but keeping $300 for himself. Now, ship owners are also bound to supply food to the ship. In most cases, they have overfood. So at the end of 6 months, I've heard of people on board my vessel when I own my vessels. When they leave, the amount of food they share for them is enough for their wife to start a shop. Because whether the ship owner likes it or not, every month he must give them money to buy food. And in most cases, they don't finish it because that is what you call about the ship chandlers must supply food, beef, chicken. On board on board the ship, you have a cook. And they don't have ordinary cook, they have chefs. So seafarers eat very well, but they work very, very hard. So That can now, but what normally happens with seafarers is that because you do 3 months on, 3 months off, the money they accumulate, most of them do self-education. So what you are saying is that rather than you out there looking for a job on the street, you could start a job that 16-year-old can wake up and says, okay, I'm going to do seafaring for 2 years. I'm going to be a rustabout for 2 years because he's going to get experience. He's going to get his sea time as well. Because remember, the most important thing for any seafarer, even if you have the paperwork, you must have your sea time, which gives you your certificate of competency. So without your certificate of competency, you can't even board a ship. Let me give you an example. We started what we call the Nigerian Seafarers Development Program in Nemasa, something I picked up from my predecessor, Dr. Dosumu. And we, so far, I think we have trained almost 2,500 seafarers. We sent them on scholarship to the Philippines, India, full scholarship, 100%. Some of them, we did some 100% paid by Nemasa, some we shared with the state government. And they went to the best universities in Philippines, India. Guess what? The aim was we're trying to replace our olden officers. Our officers are getting very old and are retiring. And the plan was to develop a new crop of officers because there's about a 250,000 people shortage of officers in the world. And the beauty about Nigeria is that we're English speaking. That is why the Philippines gets away with it. Even in India, Indians are not very much seafarers. You get more of the people from Goa. Goa, their English is a lot more clearer. You know, sometimes when an Indian man speaks, with all due respect, it's difficult to understand. But in the areas of Goa, their English is a lot more clearer. So you find more people from Goa are the ones that go on seafaring, just like the Philippines. And Nigeria also is a lovely, clear-speaking English. So the possibility of us excelling in the seafarer business is very, very high. So the bottom line, quite simply, is that we can now sit down and begin to look at the curriculum, which will allow us to develop this. So teachers can, rather than usual, not everybody can go to university. Not everybody. But you can get these people trained, and the job is international. Once you get your COC, you can go online and you can get your job international. Now, let me tell you the opportunities here. And this is a challenge I am facing personally right now. Nigeria very soon, let me not say Nigeria, Africa right now is the center of attention in the world. We have a youthful population and we need to find something to do with it. I am scared. We saw what happened in Nepal. It happened in Madagascar. It's happening in Morocco. God help us. Because it is not, it's a Gen Z thing. And these Gen Z people, they don't hear words. The way they are thinking is different from where we are thinking. And our Gen Zs, you know, they are in a different level altogether. I know when you are teaching them A, they are telling you B, C, D, E, and F. I know how different, I have a son. You know, normally there's a time when the children ask you why. And after I start asking, I have a son, he's 20, he's still asking me why. Why should I do it? Why? Justify. He said, Daddy, justify it. I said, me, justify killing. If I told my father to justify the conch I will get in my head. And then it is the mother that will come in. Come on, shut up, you're talking to your father. Because I will not understand. But the point I'm making quite simply is that the opportunities are quite vast. Now, look at Nigeria. Very soon, whether we like it or not, Nigeria will be producing, and I'm speaking at a conference on Tuesday, a Crude Oil Refiners Association conference. They are the ones who are producing crude. In a few years' time, maybe a year or 2 years' time, Nigeria is going to be a net exporter of petroleum products. We'll be producing 1.4 million barrels a day of petroleum products. We are only going to be taking in 45 million liters or 30 million liters. So everything that has to do with petroleum products has to leave Nigeria. We can't put it on an aeroplane. The only place we can move it by is by ships. So therefore, and I keep saying this, and please take this with you, the issue and the failure of us to control our waters and have our people controlling our waters and owning our vessel is a national security issue. Why do I say so? We have to be in control of those things. Donald Trump has opened our eyes to what is happening, what could happen to anybody. Look at what they did to South Africa. South Africa is not doing anything wrong. They just give them tariff. Look at what they did to Brazil. Tariff. Look at what they did to Iran. Tariff. Look at what they did to Russia. Tariff. Or trade embargo. Do you know that if Donald Trump wakes up tomorrow morning and does not like our president's face and decides to impose an embargo on Nigeria on non-export, we are at a loss. That is why I keep advocating for the need for us to not only own the infrastructure for our maritime sector, but also to train our people to be the ones to run it. Do you know why Russia and Iran are okay right now? They own their own ships and they train their own seafarers. And the moment they go to international water, America cannot touch them. Tell me now in Nigeria, if there's something that is imposed on us as Nigerians, how do we escape it? Nigeria, foreigners control 99% of every vessel that carries Nigerian goods in and out. We do not have any control. The moment they decide that they're not going to bring anything in, no vessel will come to Nigeria. Also, I'll give you another example of a country called Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a landlocked country. They don't call it landlocked anymore. I don't know what they call it now. But Ethiopia has the biggest shipping line in Africa. They have over 14 vessels. When there was crisis in the Gulf of Yemen, when those Somalian pirates were capturing vessels, the international shipping lines, Maersk and the rest of them, increased the cost of shipping of container by an astronomical level to about $10,000 because they say it's security risk. You know what Ethiopian shipping did? They kept it at $1,000. Suddenly, everybody in that area moved their cargo to Ethiopian shipping line. The moment the likes of Maersk saw that they were losing cargo to Ethiopian shipping line, they were forced to drop their own price down to $1,000. In Nigeria, we sit here arguing, APMT has put another $500 per container surcharge. And they've done this. Why? We are not in control. And how can we be in control? We need to get the next generation to understand the value of the seas. What I'm saying, look for, it doesn't matter, each school should have one person, which is what I liked about the issue of the training the trainers program, where you have one person in a school that has the clear-cut understanding of maritime and the opportunities that are in maritime, so that we begin to input it into the brains of our younger ones. What that basically means is that in the school calendar, once a week or once a month or twice a month, the calendar allows a primary school student to attend that class where they are taught about the opportunities in seafaring. We don't need to make all the teachers learn it. You just need one. And there'll be a class, and that class, they'll say, oh, it is maritime class. And all the kids from that year goes to that for one. Maybe it's one lesson for that day, and then they leave. But the curriculum is basically the same thing. Now, for a different year, of course, you begin to improve the kind of classes or curriculum you teach them as the year goes on. But you teach the younger ones what you think they understand, maybe the 10-year-olds, and then as you've done that one for that year, the next year, you teach the 11-year-olds until they get, and then you'll be surprised at the end of the day, you get to a stage where you say, oh, by the way, there are some technical classes or some certification exams that need to be taken. And you can tell the parents that, look, let your kids take 1, 2, 3 of these certification classes, and with those classes, automatically, you can get them on board vessels. Now, there's another issue we have. Issue of marine pollution. Plastics. We need to start teaching the next generation on the need to reduce the level of pollution we put on our waters. The amount of plastics on our waters, these are the kind of things we'll be teaching that the curriculum can develop so that when a kid sees a plastic on the road, he's picking it up because he knows that that plastic might end up in the water, which at the end of the day can create further problem. Just like when he sees somebody defecating on the road or in the water, he would educate the person because the children have a way of not only embarrassing us, but also educating us in their embarrassment of us. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. A child will tell you something, you think, oh, you kill sorrow. What are you saying? Are you talking anyhow? But you too, next time you are doing it, you'll be looking at, are you sure there's no child around to come and embarrass me? These are the kind of thing, because if an elderly person tells that man that thing, he want to fight the person. But when a child tells you that thing, you yourself, you just hold yourself. By the time you want to go and do it, you say, draw yourself back. And you will not do it. So that is why it is important. And once they begin to get this, it's like a flow. That means everybody has an understanding. So when the next generation begins to come up, they all have a general understanding. It is not only Lagos State. We need to make it like a national curriculum. It doesn't take anything out of us on the basis of that. Now, there's another issue we have. People hear about oil spill, oil spill, oil spill. There's a body called the IOPC, International Oil Petroleum Something Fund. Okay? What that fund does is that when there's an oil spill, you can go there and take money from that fund to treat the oil spill. Now, you will not believe this. The secretariat for that fund is sitting in Nimasa. Guess what? Nigeria never accessed it. Now, let me tell you why. There's a procedure. There's a process to access that fund. So what we need to do, we need to educate those in the coastal community because there are certain evidences they need to gather. And we need to teach them how to gather this evidence, which will form the basis for you to now apply. We have applied for these funds and we keep rejecting because we are not following the processes. So we need to educate those people in the riverine community. And I can tell you one thing, even all these plastics and whatever, there are international funds for it. But guess what? Our children are not educated. Let me tell you, when a kid wakes up and understands this thing, he'll be the one walking on the coastline. What is going on here? Why is this here? Taking a picture on his smartphone. Instead of doing what, he will take a picture, he will document. He will take a picture, he will document it. As he begins to move around, he's building evidence so that but he's working in line with the processes that have been set by the International Environmental Fund for it to do that. These are little things that they think they are playing, but they are doing it. The person will just carry his phone and walk on the beach and begin to take picture. We call it liters, water liters or liters or whatever. Take a picture, and then he knows how to just plastic litter at so and so location. Bam, he takes it. Or oil spill, this, and captures it. And as he begins to capture that, you see over time, you build up evidence for you to begin to collect that fund. That is that. Now, there are other areas. We'll talk about the seabed. Look, let me tell you, and I listen to this very carefully, teachers, you'll be shocked. The most powerful ministry is not petroleum ministry. The most powerful ministry is Marine and Blue ministry. Let me tell you why. You see, people like us will read the act. There's the Petroleum Industry Act. There's all these things. Now, in order for you to drill on the water, you need a vessel to get there. And guess who approves that vessel? Maritime. In order for you to touch the seabed, it is not NNPC or petroleum. It is International Seabed Association. You are supposed to get approval from Nimasa to drill that seabed. When you drill finish, you put it back on your FPSO or your storing vessel. What will carry it it is still that storing vessel that will carry it. Anything to do on the water, in the water, below the water, has to do with maritime. The only job that NUPRC has is to allocate you the acreage to do that drilling. So when you look at it from that perspective, you begin to realize that the opportunities are vast. Is it portside work? Is it coastal community work? Is it even like you said, like Prof said, tourism? There's nothing stopping us from taking a cruise ship to be landing in places along the coast here. And then along the side, the communities are setting up dance troops that receives them and doing whatever. Then they go to Warri. From there, they go to Calabar. And they see the different cultures along the way. Not even Nigeria alone. All the way up West and Central African region. I'll give you a challenge which we are facing right now. I was on a Zoom call with Afrexim 2 days ago. And the problem we have is that the goods, the cargoes are here in Africa, but we cannot move them. Do you know in the next 40 months, Dangote fertilizer in Lekki will be the largest producer of fertilizer in the world. But that fertilizer can only go to the areas by road, or most of what he's doing now, majority of his fertilizer is going outside. Why? Because we have not developed the local logistics to move that cargo to our area. We are still battling petrol, where he's moving it by trucks. But we have a good coastal water. So maritime is not focused purely on seafarers. There are other areas in maritime which we can focus on, which is good. Prof has identified many of them and how it can work on our behalf. So I just encourage you, do not give up. Africa, look, I've not even talked about solid mineral. Do you know that Nigeria has 53 commercially viable solid mineral in this country? Whether it is iron ore, titanium, tin, gold, just name it, uranium. But guess where they are? They are up north. And they cannot, the only way they are bringing them down now is by trucking them by road to Lagos Port or wherever they are taking them to. Now the railway is coming small, but the best way to move that thing is by water. We have the River Niger. We have 10,000 kilometers of inland waterways in this country, not utilized. All the way. Do you know I can take a boat? Let me even give you a journey now. Somebody named somewhere inside Nigeria that I should take you to by boat. Just name somewhere. I will take you from Lagos to that place. Just name somewhere up north. Or, where? Yola. Okay, Yola. Okay, if I want to go to Yola from here now, let me tell you how I'll go to Yola. Are you listening? I will jump on the boat here. I'll take my boat from there. I'll go through Lekki Flats. From Lekki Flats, I will enter. I'll get to Ekpe. From Ekpe, I will go down. I'll get to Ijebu Waterside. I will follow Ijebu Waterside. I will continue all the way yet. I'll come to Ose River. Ose River is by Benin. By the time I come to Ose River, it will carry me all the way and get me to Benin River. Benin River is where Delta State, that is cocoa. I will take cocoa. There's an inland creek there called Nana Creek. It will carry me and bring me to Escravos. From Escravos, I'll take the Shanomi Creek. Shanomi Creek, I'll use it, I'll get to Burutu. From Burutu, I've not entered the ocean, no. I will take that water and follow it up north, go to Patani. From Patani, I'll get to Asaba, which means I've got to Onitsha already. From Onitsha, I'll continue, I'll get to Agenebode. From Agenebode, I'll continue, I'll get to Ajaokuta. From Ajaokuta, I'll finish, I'll get to Lokoja. I've not entered ocean, no, this is water. From Lokoja, I will now get to the bifurcation, which is where River Niger and River Benue meet. I will now take the other routes and continue on that river all the way and land me at Yola. I have not entered any road. Apart from this, apart from this, there are also inner creeks that are maneuverable. Majority of most places in Nigeria, you can get to by water. That is why we are not taking advantage. China is using its raw water so well that it has become the most commercial areas for them to transport their goods. But we are not. But why are we not? Because our leaders were never taught on the importance of the river and the waterways. And this is the opportunity you now have to begin to teach these people now. So that as they begin to grow up, because by the grace of God, one of them will become our president of this country. And when they become our president, they will understand what was taught to them as a kid as it relates to the water, and they begin to focus on that area. Because everybody ignores the water, but nobody knows the importance. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
All right, let's put your hands together for Barrister Temisan Omatseye. Do we have any question for him? Oh, there's a question for you, sir. So still just 2 minutes.
Thank you, Barrister. I really enjoyed that session. But I have this question to ask. Talking about engaging the youth in seafaring or becoming a seafarer. Sir, I want to know how easy is it and what is the process? Because we have some of them leaving secondary school, they don't have the opportunity of moving ahead. How easy is it and what is the process, sir? Thank you very much, sir.
You'll be shocked how easy it is. You see, this is where I am at a separation of path with governments. And the reason quite simply is this. In order for us to be recognized, we need to be on the IMO white list. Okay, let me explain. IMO has a way of authenticating maritime training administrations. And based on them certifying you that you are capable to provide this kind of study, they put you on what they call the IMO whitelist. Now, in real situation, it is the country that's put on the whitelist because we now certify them. So you have, like Maritime Academy Oron is meant to be on the whitelist because it is our main training institutions. But there are a lot of smaller training institutions which, if they are audited properly, there are so many training institutions, they can be on the whitelist. And they don't have to train everything. Look at LTT here. LTT is providing a service to Nigerian Ports Authority, or I believe LCM. And in many a time, they have to repair their engines. There's nothing stopping from them, if they are on the white list, to start training marine engineers on board if they are certified to be on the white list. So a secondary person, school person can come. But as it stands today, the nearest place we have that can give you a white list, I believe, and please I stand to be corrected, is the Regional Maritime Academy in Accra, Ghana. Now, once you get that, there are like 6 or 7 certifications they give you. I sent one of my about 4 or 5 of my younger ones there. And at that time, it cost me about $1,000 to put them through. But what that does, they do all the paperwork which is required, certification, they do tanker familiarization, they do their first aid, everything that requires you to board the vessel, you get that certification. Now, with that certification, you can now go and look for a job on any vessel or any tanker anywhere in the world because they are on the white list. So, on the basis of that, that can be done. But that does not mean that you cannot have some short courses You can do in places like Maritime Academy Oron. I think there are some schools in Port Harcourt and other places you can do some of these courses. But I don't know where that certification will take you to. But also it gives you a better understanding of it. But if you want a certification that gives you international recognition, you have to go to the Regional Maritime Academy in Accra. Aside from that, I don't know anywhere else in Africa. Now, the reason why I say so is because we are not on the white list. That is why I am at diversion with government sometimes, that these are the issues we should focus on rather than all this campaign for IMO Council. Get yourself on the white list. Encourage universities. Let me tell you what happened. When I was DG, when we started the Seafarers Development Program, we knew that for FX reason, it was not sustainable. It was not sustainable. So what we decided to do, we said we're going to set up what they call Institute of Maritime Studies in the different universities. And that came to me when I went to University of Ife, Obafemi Awolowo University. And the plan was that we're going to set up those institutes so that we'll set up a chair, a professorial chair in each of these universities, and would make it a requirement that anybody that wants to register a company as a shipping company would develop a training program to ensure that their staff are going for regular update courses. We wanted to try and do it also. That is what Kirikiri is for. If you go to Nimasa's Research Development Center, if you go there, as you enter on the right, you see what they call the Learning Center. And I give it to the late Ferdinand Ago. Brilliant idea. We had the hall on the right. We had the administrative building. Then behind, we had the Learning Center. Then we had the hotel, like guest house accommodation with a swimming pool. And the plan for that was basically, that would be as a center of excellence. Lagos, you didn't get that one first. We had that one first. And that would be a center of where we'll be training people. But the place is lying a bit dormant. But it's not stopped, because at one time, we had an agreement with Lloyd's Training, that we're going to come and take over the place. They even have an e-library there. They have an e-library at the resource center. But the place is not being used to capacity. They even have a mechanical workshop where you could have brought vessels and be training mechanical engineers and have short courses. But let me not lie. And this, if I don't commend anything, I commend 3 states, I believe. 2 states. Lagos State and Akwa Ibom. Now, why do I commend them? Continuity. A vision is set. Irrespective of who comes in, he continues on that vision and drives it. That is why Lagos is where it is. Do you think if all the other governors that came after started doing their own idea to Lagos State will not be where it is? Go to Akwa Ibom. You'll be shocked by the development in that place. Why? Because of continuity. So, but what happens in our own side, in our maritime sector, is that we have a stop push. A guy comes in and has that. And that is why I like what they've done now. They've developed what they call the Marine and Blue Economy Policy. Okay? That has been developed. But I felt they should have gone a bit further on that. They should have set up, because it talks about training as well. And in that policy, they should have put KPIs. They should have done, apart from the policy, they should have done a strategy to achieve that policy, which would have set a KPI, which means that anybody that comes in as the MD of NPA, Nimasa, Niwa, would have to follow that strategy, because that sets his KPI for success. But now, there's nothing. So a guy comes in and says, my idea is to do ABC. So what the other guy is doing, he abandons it. So that's why we have in the maritime sector so many abandoned projects. My thoughts.
You see, from what you said, it's just a Nigerian thing. And since you said it's your choice, my thoughts is that since you have identified all this, the lacuna in the maritime sector, I want to watch an appeal on behalf of the young ones that are coming and the education sector. I should please put these things together. And your conscience will be clear if you send it forth to where it's supposed to. I'm sure you know the right corners and the right quarters to send them to. You'll have done your part. Please put them together. Because you see, sometimes haven't gone through it. Somebody that is just coming does not have your experience, does not have your exposure. And after you have left, you have even seen it from the outside. And you have seen, okay, if I had the chance of going back, I would have done things differently. That's what I tell people. And that's why, like you have identified too, in Lagos State, we continue to monitor and improve. We evaluate and reevaluate. So, sir, I am begging you, please, don't let all these your thoughts go to waste. They are very germane for the development of this country. Thank you.
Well, I'm happy you are here, Pamsek. What I would suggest personally, but he will charge you small money, but I think it's worth it. There's a gentleman called Commodore Pu, KPOU. Okay? He was a retired naval officer. Also, there's a gentleman called, you know him, Rear Admiral Olubodi. You know him too. If you can get two of them together, let them develop a curriculum for you. These guys are brilliant. They are the guys that lecture at the Nigerian Defense Academy. These are the people, Nigeria, we have brains. Nigeria, we have, they will develop a curriculum for you. You get their number, call them, speak to them. Yes, they might charge you something, but they will develop you tell them that this is what I want in my schools. In Lagos school, I want the teachers, I want to pass this to this private or secondary school for them to do this and train. And then they will develop a curriculum, and that curriculum is what is going to be taught across board in Lagos State. These are the guys, these are the brains, these are the guys that write curriculum for Nigerian Defense Academy. What's that? What's the one in Abuja again? The big one where all the big boys go to. Defense College. These are lecturers in Defense College. They are not whatever. And they develop curriculums in the maritime sector. These are the brains in the maritime sector. Speak to them, invite them in, talk to them, please, this is what I want to do. They would just open. These are the people that develop NIMASA. So don't worry about it. They will go ahead. Okay, Prof.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister. It was really an eye-opener, and we know these things have been going on. And I know you forgot to mention Maritime Academy in Oron, and it's so appalling for all the people that have gone through that academy. I don't know, many of our even ship owners, they don't adopt them on their vessels. Yes, I go for discussions around this area, and this whitelist thing, I think it lies with NIMASA, right?
Yes,
to get that arrangement. What are we waiting for? You see, now we're advertising Accra for our people to.
We have no choice.
You see, but that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. Let us do something about it. Why would our own ship owners not even hire our seafarers on board their vessels? It's pathetic. Okay,
let me tell you why I believe. I was a ship owner at one time. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry to say this, and again, I try not to criticize where I'm from, but it's not their fault. There's a lot of fake certificates going around. And seafarers are very scared to put the wrong person. Ship owners are very scared to put the wrong person on board the ship. And therefore, when an accident happens, they cannot collect their insurance. So, the problem we have is that, and this is where we need to go back to, there need to be, and which is what our president said they should be doing now. I think he said that earlier this week. A reconfirmation of your certificates. Many of these people have gone to Oluwole and gotten fake certificates, and there is no means of verification of those certificates. And what we're trying to say is that there's need for a portal to be set up where certificates are put in. And therefore, even for a fee, a person that comes with a certificate, a ship owner can go in there and verify those certificates. Now, I don't know when was the last time you went to Oron. The last rector there, you would not believe that place. That place is something else. As a matter of fact, I think what you should do, Laito, is talk with the rector of Oron. And, Akwa Ibom is a lovely place. Go and take some people to go and visit the place. They have simulators. They have this. They have Indian lecturers. They have, if you go to the place, I almost collapsed. I was shocked. But still, all this does not work if you're not on the white list, because your certification does not get international recognition. So the focus that a likes of the master should be doing is that, what does it take to get on the white list? If you have to go and bring an expatriate that works in IMO or whatever, please, I need Man Oron to be on the white list. Please, can you do what it takes to get it there, and I'll pay you. And he will act as an auditor and process and ensure that we get it. Once we get on that white list, then what I have suggested is not the building of additional maritime universities or maritime academies. Then, working with the state government, Maritime Oron can now start up campuses in different states where they can begin. So if they need some simulator training, you come to Oron. But the teaching, the standard of the teaching would have been set already for the people to come there. But you, from this primary and secondary, you need to educate their mindsets on the need for them to do this. Because if they don't understand and appreciate the values, look, you know what a mooring master? A mooring master, that means the guy that does mooring master, that he just for him to bring it, which is what they do. A mooring master. You know what a mooring master earns now in Port Harcourt? I'm looking for one oil company. You know what he told me? In Nigeria, $10,000 a month nets. You know what I mean, nets? That means I don't care about your tax and everything. Collect all your tax up front. The money that will enter my accounts, $10,000 a month. And that is the market rate for a mooring master. You're not talking about the first class master. You're not talking about this. So you can imagine, masters are earning $20,000 a month. No shaking. Now, I told you the cheapest guy on board the ship now, when I knew it, was $500. When he moves to the next level, it's $1,500. Next level is $3,000. That's how they keep moving up. So as he begins to improve, his salary begins to climb. But the lowest he will get today is $500 a month. So it is so good. And you can imagine a master works only 6 months of the year, and the other 6 months he's at home resting. Because you do 1 month on or 1 month off, or 3 months on, 3 months off. But many of these boys now, they go off again because of the money. They shook. They'll just be there working. Luckily, they just take 1 month to say to their wife, "Madam, how you doing? Get belly?" But the woman is not complaining because the dollar is entering the account straight. So that is my own thinking. Thank you. Okay, sorry. I didn't know I was taking this long, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Hello. Yeah, sir. My name is Bola Olajuwon. I'm a journalist. I can also call myself an educator because I'm the head of education desk of the Nation newspaper. Sir, nice meeting you. I've really heard about your name before, but it's surprising everything you said here. They are just like high hope not to me. One, Madam took a sale or a steam from what I will have advised you to. Okay, being the former DG of NIMASA does not stop you from contributing to national development, sir. Okay? Now, all what you mentioned, the opportunities you raised in the blue economy and maritime sector, have you been able to project it to the minister of blue economy, the presidency as well? That is one. Secondly, sir, As I said, you have, as Madam said, you have to document this thing because many people do not know what you've stressed here today in terms of employment opportunity, national security, then funding, assessing funding, research development, among others. Sir, I will also suggest you create a center. You create a center where people can learn from you. It will make you happy, sir. Look, I'm a winner of Maritime Award, Nigerian National Merit Award in Maritime. All what you told me, the high of me, I knew some of them from going for international events. But coming down locally, I didn't know that we have brain like this. Yes, it's not that I'm bragging about what you said. But in any case, sir, please, we want more. We want you to contribute more to national development. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm sorry. You must understand something about me. Okay? I speak truth to power. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't like to hear the truth. So, by virtue of that, I will say it. You can't kill me for saying the truth. Hey, you can't do jack. I will just say the truth. So, unfortunately, when I speak truth, as a matter of, it's not because of Olaiton. I've made a policy, I'm not talking again. Because now everybody has blocked me now. Because I will say it as I see it and how I believe it's to be done. And the truth be said, yes, I agree we need to talk more about it. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to develop a curriculum through Commodore Poo. As a matter of fact, once I raise the money, I'll give it to him. And I've promised my friend is the lecturer. We both did our masters together, Professor Wale Olawoyin. We did our masters together at the LSE. I did my master's, so I'm a maritime lawyer. I did a master's at London School of Economics. So I did my maritime law. So you not be say I not go to school. So I've already offered Unilag, but I want to develop my curriculum first to do pro bono for them. That was my intention, But I want to develop a specific course which would align with the university community and see how I can begin to lecture them and also look for other opportunities for us to say these things. I hear where you're coming from, but let me tell you the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that a lot of people are afraid to talk. I will not lie to you. I know a lot of people in our industries, they are afraid to talk. The knowledge you say I have, I do not have an inch of it compared to them. But many of them are afraid to talk because of repercussions. Because when you tell some people the truth, they see it as if you are criticizing them. Rather than them, they prefer sacrifices. So the bottom line, quite simply, is that I hear what you're saying, and like I said, I open myself. I mean, Kingsley is here, and Kenneth. I talk as much as I can talk. But the bottom line is that, we write papers. I'm writing some papers now. I'll give you an example of another paper we're doing. Do you know that the Petroleum Act never gave powers to DPR, to issue bunkering license? To bunker a vessel comes under MAPOL Convention, Annexure 5 and Annexure 6. That is an international convention that states categorically how. The PIA does not even give NMDPR that power. I've read it from start to finish. But guess what? PRA have claimed and have issued guidelines claiming that the act gives them that power. And we've read the section that they're quoting. It doesn't give them that power. Are you seeing what I'm saying? There's a power grab that is going on. I'll give you a second example. Section 232 of the PIA talks about issue of decommissioning of wellheads and whatever. PIA gave that power to NUPRC, quoting an international convention, an IMO convention, using an IMO convention to give NUPRC that power. Whereas Nigeria is a signatory to an international convention that makes NIMASA the designated authority for that work. But somebody is doing that work, and the man was boasting last week that he has collected $400 million for decommissioning operations, which is a job that's meant to be done by somebody else in line with international conventions for which Nigeria is signatory to. So are you seeing what is going on? So there's a power grab everywhere. So therefore, nobody is doing the right thing or whatever needs to be done. And when you lecture these people and tell them, they will tell you, they will just give you one argument and whatever the case. Let me not say more. I think you are the only press man here. Let me not say too much.